coordinates response against pandemic in Niger, as well commemorates clean air for improved air quality. Stakeholders call for reinforced environmental standard. Hello and welcome to Panorama, live on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ienre John. President Muhammadu Buhari is in Ienre, Republic of Niger, to participate in the 57th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. State House correspondent Adam Musambu reports that the president was accorded a befitting reception on arrival at Diori Hamani International Airport, Ienre. Ahead of the welcoming party was a high-powered Nigerian government delegation led by Prime Minister Brigi Rafini and the Nigerian ambassador to Niger, Ambassador Atahiru Halilu. During the one-day summit, the West African leaders are expected to deliberate on the special report on COVID-19 to be presented by President Buhari as ECOWAS champion on the fight against COVID-19 in the Sahel region. The Nigerian leader coordinated the Sahel regional response against the pandemic. The summit will also receive a special report on the ECOWAS Monetary Cooperation Program, as well as the 2020 interim report on activities of the Sahel regional body, including ECOWAS Vision 2050. The alarming rise in incidents of terrorism, insurgency, armed banditry and piracy will also come under focus. So also the disruption of the democratic process by the military in Mali. Similarly, with Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Guinea and Niger holding parliamentary and presidential elections this year, the imperative of strengthening democracy in the Sahel region by respecting constitutional provisions, rule of law and outcomes of free and fair polls will be emphasized. And back home, history will be kind to President Buhari than his critics are prepared to be. History will be kind to the president. This, the presidency says, is because, in addition, the president's amazing ability to command votes will be remembered as the president who made real contributions to economic and overall national development by eliminating the evils of corruption embedded in subsidies. Joseph Johnson has more.
Statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President's Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, indicates that 5 years on after the All Progressive Congress APC came to power, defeating an incumbent administration amidst very high expectations from President Muhammadu Buhari, the administration has worked hard to meet many expectations, but still there are certain tough decisions which had to be taken to put back the country on the path of sustainable development. The statement further explains that to stop the mismanagement of taxpayer money, eliminate corruption associated with subsidies on petroleum products, power, fertilizer, among others, the administration took the decision to implement long-delayed reforms, withdraw and allow the market to determine their prices. While noting that the country is today fighting multiple challenges along with COVID-19, including low earnings, near collapse of the oil market, floods, threats of terrorism and banditry, the statement affirms that the challenges notwithstanding, a good government must take decisions for the people's good, as exemplified by President Muhammadu Buhari, who takes these difficult decisions, both popular and unpopular, because he is demonstrating the right courage to take such decisions as they become necessary in view of present circumstances. History, the statement adds, will judge President Buhari in favorable terms rather than his critics in the new media and the opposition, as he has shown a rare determination to carry out the bold initiatives, pushing development goals, not politics, but needs the support and understanding of all citizens, inclusive of the opposition parties, the labor movement and civil society groups.
Meanwhile, the first-year ministerial performance review retreat is underway in Abuja to review reports of ministers in the implementation of government policies, especially in the 9 priority areas of the present administration. The retreat is divided into 3 sessions, namely review to identify improvement opportunities, key learning from other jurisdictions and strategies to accelerate execution and delivery of government policies, at the core of which is the vision of President Muhammadu Buhari to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. Central to the retreat is the effect of the coronavirus pandemic on the nation and the need to adjust policy directions to incorporate contemporary realities. Achievements of the federal government in power, transportation, agriculture, internal security, youth empowerment, national response against the COVID-19 pandemic, and issues surrounding petroleum pricing are parts of the agenda for the retreat. Now talking security, troops of Operation Wellstroke have arrested 8, killed 1 bandit in Benue and Nasarawa states. A statement by the Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Ienre, indicates that 4 of the bandits were eliminated during a raid on their hideout in Seagi, Gua local government area of Benue State. Major General Ienre notes that one of the bandits met his Waterloo when troops stormed bandits' camp along Benue-Nasarawa border. Several arms were recovered from the encounter. The military high commends the public for providing credible intelligence information that facilitated the successful operation. Also, the Defense Headquarters wish to reassure residents of FCT and other adjoining states that the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies have been on red alert to combat crime and ensure effective surveillance of the Federal Capital Territory and other states of the country. A statement by the Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Ienre, says this is imperative sequel to a purported memorandum from the Nigeria Customs Service warning its staff on a possible attack on the FCT. Major General John Ienre notes that the public is advised to go about their businesses while the armed forces and other security agencies assured Nigerians that the offensives against criminals will be sustained until normalcy is restored in all parts of the country. The public is enjoined to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity accordingly. The Nigerian Correctional Service Training Workshop in Imo, the Comptroller General, Nigerian Correctional Service, Favour Ahmed, says effective implementation of non-custodial centers in the country introduced in 2019 will play a crucial role in the effort to decongest custodial centers in the country. He stated this at a one-day training program for state and correctional officers held in Owerri, Imo State. Kingsley Ononiwo has the details.
Over the years, congestion of custodial centers across the country has been of great concern to Nigerians. This situation is, however, changing for good following the signing into law of the 2019 Nigeria Correctional Service Act by President Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking at the one-day training on effective implementation of non-custodial measures, the Comptroller General, Nigeria Correctional Service, Favour Ahmed, represented by the Controller of Corrections, Planning, Research and Statistics, Amos Kupan, says the training program is part of the effort being made by the service to decongest the nation's custodial centers.
With this non-custodial, many people, first-time offenders that are sentenced to non-custodial, will no longer go into our facilities, and which has helped to decongest our facilities.
The Assistant Controller General of Nigeria Correctional Service in charge of Zone E, Owerri, Chuks Chibua, says the non-custodial measures will put an end to unnecessary imprisonment of minor offenders.
The introduction of the non-custodial measure will address the issue of congestion in prisons, reducing the congestion and expediting action in the domain of quick justice dispensation.
A lot of things have changed. First is we now have an aspect of corrections that focus on the community. So you have the custodial service and you have the non-custodial service, because those were the things that the new act said that has to happen.
The event attracted officers from the Nigeria Correctional Service Zone E in Owerri. Kingsley Ononiwo, NTA News.
In other news, the national president of the Jama'atu Izalatu Bidda wa Ikamata Sunnah, Sheikh Abdullahi Balalau, has urged Muslim clerics to support the federal and Kaduna state government's efforts towards dousing tension in the southern Kaduna by preaching peace and harmonious coexistence amongst the various groups. This was when he led other members of the group to Governor Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai in Kaduna. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
By the wave of violent conflicts in southern Kaduna, The leaders of faith have been extending support to both security agencies and government with a view to dousing tension and provide lasting solution to the age-long crisis. Members of Izalatul Bid'ah, Iqamatus Sunnah, led by their leader Sheikh Abdullahi Balalo, are here on the same mission to make their own input. The group commended the effort of both the federal and the state government in calming the situation through deployment of more security assets and above all bringing together the aggrieved parties on a dialogue table for genuine reconciliation and sustainable peace in the affected areas.
So we are here as an Islamic organization to support the peaceful coexistence of our people in Kaduna State. Without peace and harmony, you cannot even practice your religion.
This is another visit that gives the state government hope that the violence will soon be history. Governor Nasru Ahmed El-Rufai says aside the heavy security presence in the affected areas, religious leaders can play a vital role in getting people to embrace peace.
Where we present them with all the facts, all the information, for them to use the holy books to guide how they will preach to the congregation. And we are very grateful for that. We think it's key. This is why we are very pleased to receive the National President of Khan and all the top bishops, and then we inaugurated the House of Kaduna Family last week, and the Sultan of Sokoto also visited, all along the same line.
It is expected that the message of peace will get down to the aggrieved parties for immediate restoration of normalcy to southern Kaduna. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajingi, NTA News.
And away from Kaduna now, the federal government has expressed determination to sustain and improve upon the monthly distribution of food items to IDPs in the northeast, describing the speculation of hunger in the region as baseless and unfounded. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said this in Maiduguri soon after a closed-door meeting with some development partners and handing over of food items to Borno State Government. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
Since the outbreak of activities of Boko Haram insurgent in the northeast in 2008 and the resultant effects, the federal government has been evolving ways of providing relief items to the victims at different IDP camps in the region. Although the distribution then was not without some gaps. However, in 2017, the federal government came up with new strategies of door-to-door monthly distribution of food items to the IDPs in the northeast. Since then, the issue of diversion and racketeering was put to rest. This visit of the Humanitarian Affairs Minister with cargo planes, loads of assorted food items to the IDPs in Maiduguri is part of the monthly commitment of the federal government. She said the plight of the less privileged and vulnerable Nigerians is being prioritized by President Muhammadu Buhari, hence the constant distribution of food items across the country, as well as palliatives as a result of COVID-19.
And we have all come to agree with one voice that no population in this country that has been affected by any kind of disaster, either in the northeast or any other place, that is being faced with starvation. No population in Borno State is being faced with starvation. The government come now to fill in those gaps.
The Director General of NEMA, Air Vice Marshal Muhammadu Mohammed, directed immediate distribution of the food items in collaboration with the State Emergency Management Agency. From Maiduguri in Borno State, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
A pause here for a break. Panorama continues in a bit. This day.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Let's now take a look at the numbers as regards the pandemic. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and CDC has announced 100 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Lagos has 39, FCT 22, Kaduna 19, Oyo 7, Ebonyi 6, Edo 3, Katsina, Ekiti, Bauchi and Nasarawa states recorded 1 case each. There are now 55,005 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria, discharged 43,013 and 1,057 deaths. 7 September 2020 marks the first United Nations International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, which highlights that air pollution is now the greatest environmental threat to health, though preventable. The day emphasizes availability of solutions and technology to change this and improve air quality, achieve cleaner air for healthier lives, protect nature, and help attain global climate change goals through engagement of individuals, private companies and governments. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres advocates reinforced environmental standards, policies and laws that prevent emissions of air pollutants. And at the international level, countries need to cooperate to help each other transition to clean technologies. He urged all countries to use post-COVID recovery packages to support the transition to healthy and sustainable jobs. Looking at the failed bridge in Kaduna, engineers fixing the failed portion of the Rigachekum Bridge have continued excavation work. This is preparatory to refilling the caved-in portion of the bridge. Abdullahi Mohammed has a situation report.
Trying to fix this very bridge which caved in about a week and some days ago. However, there's still a threat to the other existing bridge where the traffic is flowing right now. In the meantime, you can see there that there's still flow of traffic and there's not much for concern for motorists this morning. From Kaduna, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
All right, Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State has promised to leave Bauchi State better than he met it. He gave the assurance at the flag-off ceremony for the construction of new township roads across Bauchi State. Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad reports that Governor Nyesom Wike of River State performed the flag-off ceremony.
Township roads are 3.5 kilometers model oil market road that stretches through Bakinkura, Gwangwangwang, Bakaro and Oferdumi to railway in Bauchi Metropolis. Others are 2 township roads in Bununu, the headquarters of Tafabulewo local government area with the length of 2.5 kilometers. The Sina in Shira local government also with 2.5 kilometers. And 1.65 kilometers in Sadi of Darazo local government area.
Construction of these roads would serve to uplift the living conditions of the dwellers by making the towns easily accessible.
It's not how much money you have, but how you are able to manage with the little you have.
Governor Wike had earlier paid homage on the Emir of Bauchi, Alhaji Rulwan Suleiman Adamu, at his palace. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad, NTA News.
Similarly, the federal government has commenced the rehabilitation of Outer Marina, Boni Camp Road and Echo Bridge through Akwangwong Bridge. The contract, which will be completed in 12 months, is expected to address perennial flooding experienced along that route. Dr. Oguyemi has the report.
The first phase of the 9-kilometer project, being funded by Sukuk, began earlier this month. The work being carried out include excavation for the provision of concrete line drains. This became necessary to address the issue of flooding around Ahmadu Bello Way on Victoria Island and its environs.
So now we have increased the size of the drains that we are providing to take care of the runoff water, which will now be taken down to up to Ademola Adetokunbo. We are going to overlay the carriageway. So that is the overlaying of the carriageway that we are carrying out on the Outer Marina Road. That is from Agbagba up to Eko Hotel.
Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Works has begun the installation of a 2.4-meter height steel gantry and warning signs on Eko Bridge to prevent axle load abuse on the bridge. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
The attention of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, has been drawn to the proposed strike action by members of the National Association of Resident Doctors. In a statement, the minister notes that in 3 conciliatory meetings, the NME attested to the fact that 6 out of the 8 demands listed by the group have been addressed comprehensively and satisfactorily. Dr. Ngige reminds NAD that it is against labour laws and ILO conventions for parties in conciliation over an issue to employ arm-twisting methods. A statement further adds that NAD already has pending cases in court, and for this reason, the Minister of Labour advises the group to respect the laws and withdraw the ultimatum issued to Down Tools with effect from Monday, September 7, 2020. The international wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, has suddenly woken up to a surge in passengers' traffic day one of the reopening of the airport to international flight. Starting from the departure gate to the ticketing section, over 300 passengers have been processed to board Ethiopian Airlines, scheduled to depart in a few hours. While waiting for the arrival of the first flight into Abuja Airport, passengers ready to depart for various destinations expressed their joy as the air has been opened to international flight. Let's now talk sports, and Manzi Marcus will bring us details.